So I've got a very nice clean pallet here. Now, first of all, on some of these there might be splits or cracks in the wood, and I first decide which end I want to use. Funny enough, usually one end is better than the other, and you might find it surprising, but I choose to have all the splits and broken parts on the bottom side rather than on the top, because when you cut the angles on the top, that's where you want to have it neat. But it depends on, you know, you'll get a feel for what works best for you. So let me get my protection on here. Put it up on a raised platform for comfort. I'm using an old cable reel, and first you want to make one cut all the way along the top edge. Very simple. Okay, this will be your front facing and your top side. So now we flip it over. Now, we just made these cuts up here on the front side. Now we want to cut on the top side of the center beam, okay, cutting along here all the way across, and that'll separate the unused section or unknotted section from the part that we want to use. Now in the last cut you're going to want to support this a little better. It's going to fall and bind the blade. Okay, now this comes out nice and neat, and this goes off to the side. Now this is ready to cut the V-notches in it. Now I don't use any special, I can't hear myself talk, I don't use any pattern, I don't draw anything on here, because I found that just going by feel, nobody's going to sit there and analyze how perfect your angles are on the top of your picket fence. So I'm just going to go along on one side and shave one angle, and then I'm going to go along and do the other side. So just watch as I do this. Now I hold the guard up. Be careful with your fingers. Do not engage the blade until your finger is out of the way. Holding the handle, holding the guard with your thumb for safety. Now there's one cut done. Now I'm just going to come along and do the other side. And again, watch your finger on that guard. Okay, now there is one piece of picket fence ready to put in place. There it is. It's that simple to make a pallet wood picket fence. Now for securing it you have multiple options. Okay, I am using green stakes. Let me go grab you an example. I have these green 3-foot tall stakes. Okay, these work perfectly, and I'll show you how I'm doing this. Here I've driven it into the ground 1 foot deep, and then I've got, no, sorry, these are 3 foot tall stakes, and the center post on these is precisely 2 foot high, so it works out for me just right. I drive it in 1 foot deep, and that's just below that angled piece of metal on it. Just goes just under the ground, gives it stability, and then I've used heavy duty baling wire on this, and this is rigid actually. It's not going anywhere on me. There's not going to be any strain or stress on this fence. In winter months I may want to put cross bracing down in a few points here and there, but for now this is holding up very well. I've had some severe winds out here since I started this pallet wood picket fence, and I've had no trouble. So this is how I'm securing them in the middle of each board, in between where 2 boards join up, and that's it. You could use 4x4 posts and drive them into the ground, but because my soil here is very rocky and very, very, very hard to dig, I find it easier to drive in a post, and often with that even I have to adjust back and forth around until I can get it in. So this is for me the best way to do it out here in my rocky soil. I would advise using a post hole digger and dropping in 4x4s, treated 4x4s, and you'll have a more secure and stable fence for long-term life. Here you will notice also I had to raise up in certain points. I had to put something underneath to raise up and level the boards. The fence is going to look better if all the boards are level, flat with the level with the ground, and rather than with each other. If the top of one pokes up a couple inches higher than another, that's not going to look bad, but if the whole thing is sloped downwards, that'll look really bad. So I'm leveling these off as I go for best appearance. Now, another thing for long-term life is eventually I'm going to look for some bricks. I have seen pallets with where the boards extend out a couple inches. Those would be optimal, and I'll show you a board and explain what I mean in a minute here. Those would be optimal, but mine end flush with the outside edge of the frame, so I may end up finding some bricks and raising each one of these pallets off the ground a couple inches for long-term life. Because right now I'm going to have an issue with termites. Eventually the termites will start, anywhere where the board is touching the ground, the termites are going to be devouring this and create their nests in it in no time. And then it'll start rotting quicker. As it is, they'll last maybe 3 to 5 years up for me. If I raise them off the ground, I'm looking at maybe 10 years or more, because these are heat treated pallets and they sit outside for 20-30 years without breaking down, as long as they're off the ground. So I would definitely advise getting them off the ground. Like I said, get some used bricks and put 2-3 bricks under each pallet, and you're good to go for years to come, and it'll still look good. Now see my stack of pallets, they all end flush with the outside edge of the framing, whereas I've seen pallets that come out a few inches, and those would be optimal. What you would do is leave the outside two boards longer and leave the middle one longer, and then you've got a real picket fence look. I don't happen to have any of those pallets like that here, and like I said, for the bottom boards you would have 3 sticking out, and that would give you the really nice picket fence look. So if you get the pallets with the longer boards on the ends past the frame, then you're hooked up. Otherwise, as I said, prop them up on bricks and you're still alright, and it'll last and it looks good. So Troy from the Do-It-Yourself World and the Off-Grid Project, thanks for watching.